Hello, everyone. Kerry Heaps here with Chromatic Counsel, and I am coming today just in a solo episode to talk about the seasons and to talk about their personality traits. Each season, whether you are winter, summer, spring, or autumn, you have your own unique personality traits. Me as a spring, I have my own that I resonate with. And I just wanted to talk about this because I know some of you might be thinking about if you haven't had a color analysis and you're wondering what your season might be. It could be very easy for you to tell just based on your personality traits as well. If you are looking to have a color analysis done, I have a link in the show notes below, so you can click on that. You can have one done virtually where you don't have to talk to anybody at all. You just fill out a form and we send you your results. And if you want to have one done virtually with me on Zoom, there's an option for that. And for those of you who are interested in a color toolkit, so you can utilize the emotions of color within your wardrobe, that option is on the site as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Our first season we're going to talk about is the winter season, and hopefully you can kind of see our winter color card here, front and back. Now, with winter, our keywords here are it's a bold season, very dramatic, very confident, very sophisticated, and very strong color palette. Now, if you are a winter, typically your personality traits are going to be just as strong as your season. So, some of the personality traits that we have for a winter are commanding presence, directly speaking their mind. They don't hold back, they don't sugarcoat anything. They're very direct in their response. They're also very strategic thinkers. They can think long term, they can see past what's happening now and look to the future when they're making decisions. They have very high standards. They're very polished in whatever they do. So that is another trait that you want to look out for. They're also very drawn to leadership roles, not necessarily high-powered roles, but leadership roles where they're taking maybe a nonprofit. They hold up a high position as a nonprofit, or maybe they started a nonprofit, or perhaps they are an entrepreneur or business owner. So typically a winter is going to be a very strong personality type. And next up, we have our summer palette. So if you fall within the summer palette, summer palettes typically are very calm, um, elegant. It's very thoughtful, refined, very delicate colors. As you can see from the summer palette here, we have a lot of light colors, lots of pinks as well, different variations of pink, and just a very muted and soft palette for all of the different colors that encompass our summer. So, if you are a summer, probably some of your personality traits could be that you're more empathetic, you're introspective, you kind of play that mediator. You're the person that tries to get both sides to come to an agreement and come together to stop fighting. That's another trait of the summer. Also, with the summer, they're very detail oriented. They're very graceful, very timeless with their presence, and just they move very gracefully, not just with their actions, but with their words, how they speak, how they talk. Um, Also, too, they're typically diplomatic. Again, they're not going to be one to start a fight. If there's somebody disagrees with them, they're going to try to, hear the other person out, hear what they have to say, and, kind of hear that person's side and basically kind of, either agree to agree or agree to disagree. They can also be seen as a very quiet strength. Or very highly emotionally intelligent, maybe an empath, or someone again who can really be held in high regard and sought out for their opinion. So if you are like that, you are probably a summer. Now, our next palette that I want to talk about is our autumn. So here's the autumn. Well, you can see that. I know sometimes when I have a background, it doesn't always show the card. Here we go. So if you are an autumn, these are more of our earth tones, more of our grounded colors that we see within an autumn. And as you can see here, all of the different earth tones, a lot of browns, mahogany, pumpkin colors, apricot, salmon, the colors of the actual world, really, that's around us. And they have some most of the colors in the autumn palette, I think, are very beautiful. They're more of the like terracotta and lime, and they have the most variety of greens as well in their palette out of all of the other seasons. Green's one of my absolute favorite colors. They're a warm palette as well, you know, so with the color charting. So this just kind of gives you an idea of what the autumn palette looks like. And again, typically in autumns are associated with warm, strong, intuitive, grounded, like they're grounded to the earth. So if you are an autumn, some of your personality traits are typically you're loyal, you're supportive, you have very strong values, you value loyalty, you know what you like and what you want to support, and you stick to that. There's no one side or the other. You're just on your straight path. They're typically very wise, very educated, and introspective as well. Again, they can kind of look at problems, they can problem solve. They're just very good at figuring out a solution, not so much for other people's problems, but for their own. They're very mathematical, they can be very more left brain thinker. They do have a very strong connection to nature as well, clearly, because it's an autumn earth tone type palette. And they can be very intense and, you know, in a good way, very passionate. So if they have a love for acting or for um, pageantry or for dance or for exercise, they can be very, very passionate about that, and they just focus on that one thing. Nothing can really tear them away. They go all in. And they can be very purpose driven as well. So if they have a goal in mind, if they have something that they're wanting to accomplish, it gets done. They figure out a way to do it, they goal set, they figure out what steps they need to take, and before you know it, that goal is accomplished. So typically, you know, again, they're very loyal, supportive. They're a great person to have as a friend, as a colleague, even as a teammate or business partner. Autumns can make excellent business partners as well. So if that sounds like you might potentially be an autumn. And of course, our last and my personal favorite, just because I fall in this palette, is our spring palette. And here's our color card for spring. Springs are typically, when you look at the palette, it is very bright, bright colors, very crisp colors as well. We do have the most variation of pinks and reds in our palette, more than any of the other seasons here. And we are a warm palette as well, just like our autumn sisters. But there's lots of great colors. And also, too, we have a nice selection of purples and blues in addition to that. And we have a couple of greens here, too. I wish we had more shades of that, just because I love green. Now, if you are a spring, typically your personality traits could fall into any of the following. We are typically enthusiastic or energetic, very spontaneous. You may talk to us one day and we're talking about different things that we're doing, and then you could talk to us next week and we're on a totally different path. Because we change our mind very quickly. We make very quick decisions. Typically, summers are creative thinkers. We are typically the ones that would be very creative, maybe writing a book or going out on the speaking trail or starting a new business or trailblazing. We are usually naturally charismatic. People do come to us. I have people who will come up to me all the time asking for help. It could be at an airport, it could be somebody that needs directions, or somebody at the store, simply because people are very drawn to the natural charismatic of a spring. We are kind of lighthearted. I'm not always like that, but very expressive. I personally express better when I'm working in my business, or if I am actually, if I'm writing something, if I'm writing a book, or working on something, a creative project, we can be perceived as impulsive and scattered, when in reality, we are just very quick decision makers. We do a lot of deep thinking. We just don't tell people about it. It's just not something that we would share. We usually don't come to people and ask them for their advice or for an opinion. We do seek expert advice when needed, but for the most part, we figure out what we want to do and we just start doing it. We tell people after or during. We're also very adaptable and people focused. So, much like spring, excuse me, summers, where we are, that empathetic and just really going out in the community and helping people. We're very much like that too, but in a different sense. So we're typically very warm people, very outgoing. We're very, courageous. We do take chances. We're probably out of the four seasons, even with winter, that we take more chances than any other uh, color palette would. So if this describes you, you might actually be a spring just like me. So all of the color palettes, we have four here. We've got, again, like I've talked about, the winter, the spring, summer, and autumn. They're all great palettes. And whichever one you fall into, there's no right or wrong. It's really about what complements you, your skin tone, your eye color, and then lastly, your hair color. So again, if you have not had a color analysis done, you can click on the show notes below and you can get a color analysis done online. And if you have any questions about any of the seasons, I am happy to answer those. Just drop those in the comment section below. And if you're new to our channel, welcome. I wish I would have said this at the beginning, but welcome. This video or any of my videos resonate with you, I hope you will like the video. I hope you will subscribe to the channel so you know whenever I go live or whenever I upload a new video on color. And if there is a color combination or something that, in regards to color and wardrobe, that you'd like me to cover, again, drop that in the comments below and I'm happy to create some content around it. But I want to thank you for tuning in, and always remember, life is short. Wear the colors that make you feel great.